It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions. Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Thursday? We do, you do. From the Dixieline Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, where it's 80 degrees outside, we welcome you to our Thursday podcast, heading towards a great sports weekend. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host with his opinions from left field, John Riley, and we welcome you to our Thursday podcast, brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. Been in business more than 100 years. You got projects, they've got materials, you want ideas, they can be your best friend, your consultant. Go to Dixieline.com to see all the things that they have to offer. Stop laughing. There are people who are friends and family of mine back in upstate New York where it's going to be 26 below wind chill on Friday, and you're laughing that it's 83 degrees in San Diego.
I just love you rubbing it in. It's just classic Hacksaw. Yeah, it's all good.
Absolutely amazing. Listen, we're going to go a lot of different directions on this podcast today at Warp Speed. There's so many different stories that we like to touch bases on because we do sports talk the way it should be done. We put topics on the table. We express my opinions, and then he from left field expresses his opinions. Sometimes, a lot of times, they're off base. But then we open it up to you, and we call the last chapter of our podcast Fans Forum. And the response we get from everybody that's with us on the live stream is absolutely amazing. So just describe how those people who probably have better opinions than you do from left field, how those people can join us.
Listen to you, those people. Yeah. I mean, if you have a question or comment in the world of sports, just type in your comment, in the live chat on Facebook, YouTube, or on X. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum. People are piling in already, Lee.
Fans Forum. By the way, you can help us grow this thing. We have 1.2 million viewers, followers on all the social platforms. Did you know that we are big in China on TikTok? Can you freaking believe that? But listen, you can help us grow this thing. Give us a thumbs up, hit the follow button, or give us a 5-star rating. It helps us immensely. As you sit there watching, go find that follow button on your laptop, hit it. That helps us grow. John, we're going a lot of different directions. Let us start with all things NFL, not on the field, because we will talk Super Bowl going forward, but off the field and what's happened around Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio.
Beijing, Shanghai, get those lines lit. Okay, Bill Belichick, the big snub, Lee. This is like rocking in the NFL.
Boy, this story has just exploded. And there's all kinds of reactions and reasons why this happened. Bill Belichick did not get voted into the Hall of Fame despite his portfolio, his resume, his credentials, his Super Bowl rings. The first time his name was on the ballot, the whole world, NFL world that I know, is really shocked by this. He was a winner. He was obsessed. He was condescending. He was an ogre. The response has been unbelievable. He did not get 40 of the 50 required votes. We don't know the specific total yet. The outpouring of rage across the country around the NFL is amazing. What it's come to me is that he is respected professionally for all of his accomplishments. A lot of people, I still think, dislike him personally. And I would bet there's a fair share of the people that did not vote for him that feel that way. 333 wins, 6 Super Bowl rings in New England, 17 times AFC East Division winner. Oh, by the way, cheat, disciplined twice by the National Football League, this public feud with the venerable Robert Kraft. So the question is, how did this happen? Why did this happen? And then the response, John, it's absolutely amazing. The outpouring of pro-Belichick support from every corner of professional football and other sports too. It's almost as if he's become a martyr based on what happened to him because 11 people did not vote for him. And even Robert Kraft, who did not get in, I'm told, even Robert Kraft is the first one who said, Bill belongs. These are the hot buttons of people that responded and reacted. Tom Brady said no coach should be a first-time votee if it's not him. J.J. Watt called it irresponsible. Patrick Mahomes called this insane. Jimmie Johnson from Key West tweeted, "Who are the assholes that voted no?" Bill Cowher said he created the standard of excellence. Bill Polian, the legendary Hall of Fame executive, said, "I voted for him, but admitted, but some people on the inner circle wanted him to pay a year's worth of penance for what he did with Spygate, Deflategate." Kurt Warner called him the most accomplished ever. Next week, next Saturday, the Hall of Fame enshrinees will be announced. And then we'll get more votes as who got in, who did not get in, where their totals were. The voting process is supposed to be private. Somebody leaked it. Somebody's of the opinion that Belichick, a.k.a. and his hot pants friend, might have been the one that leaked it. Because the voters are saying, none of the voters have said, we're not the ones that leaked it. So where did this information come from a week before the Hall of Fame announcement? Guy deserves to be in. Unique, eclectic, strange, so be it. But the accomplishments as head coach of the New England Patriots are staggering. But I tend to think maybe people are in grudge mode for this whole thing about Spygate. If you cheated there, Deflategate. If you cheated there, then maybe you cheated somewhere else so we don't know about either. John Riley, what's your opinion about all things Belichick?
A martyr. Yeah. He's sacrificing himself up on the cross to save all the other NFL coaches from original sin.
Doesn't it feel that way?
No. Well, you know, it's yeah, I mean, Deflategate, Spygate, I mean, that's cheating. I mean, it's just like taking steroids. That's cheating, you know? So this should be held up over his head. I mean, he's a great coach. I'll give him that. You know, granted, he only really won with Brady, but still, he belongs in the Hall of Fame. But I don't know. This just feels like there's just like a low punch.
Payback.
Yeah. And it wouldn't surprise me because isn't his girlfriend like a PR professional? So this seems very manipulative how the vote got leaked.
Where did that leakage come from? Hoodie in the hot pants.
Yeah.
This story is not going away.
Wearing diapers.
This story is not going away. So that's topic one. I got on the right side of our computer here. You can start to pile in right now in Fans Forum. Belichick, thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you agree with him getting snubbed, or do you disagree that his resume circumvents anything else that he might have been involved in on or off the field? The Bill Belichick hotline in Fans Forum is now open. If you're an NFL fan, you get to the front of the line right now, throw a touchdown pass.
Hot pants hotline.
Yeah. Okay, so we go from that to what's gone on the other storyline off the field. Boy, these coaching jobs are being filled at warp speed.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, all these hirings and firings. What's new in Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh, Mike McCarthy, very emotional homecoming. Ex-Packer, ex-Dallas Cowboy head coach, hired Pittsburgh Steelers, came out of nowhere. A week ago this time, it looked like Pittsburgh was about to move on Nate Scheelhaase, the passing coordinator of the Rams, who's never been there before. But they interviewed McCarthy after they interviewed the Rams assistant coach, and McCarthy was dominant. Evidently, he got choked up in the interview process with the Rooneys. You know, he's from Greenfield, Pennsylvania, small industrial town right outside Pittsburgh. That's where Art Rooney Sr. was born.
Oh.
So Mike McCarthy has had great love and respect for Western Pennsylvania and all things Pittsburgh. And evidently, he said at his press conference, he said, my singular focus is a trophy for this city and that family. And he talked extensively about how Pittsburgh is hardwired about Steeler football. So that was a really impressive, very quick decision and the hire there. And then he turns around, goes back into the marketplace, hires a defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham, who had been with the Raiders, has good credentials despite how bad the Raiders situation's been. He just got hired as the defensive coordinator to go to Pittsburgh. So this is a homecoming. Now, that being said, what's next? Mike McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers. Is this going to work? Mike McCarthy, Will Howard, the Ohio State second-year quarterback. Is he the better choice? Mike McCarthy, you got to go get skill people if you're going to throw the football, because there's one thing that Pittsburgh has not had. So that's interesting there. Cleveland, the chaos and the anger, it just won't go away. Now, here the Browns interviewed everybody. And the Browns at the last minute bring in Todd Monken, Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator, and they hire him lickety-split with a snap of the fingers. Now, this guy obviously has good credentials, X's and O's. But at the end of the era in Baltimore, he was fingered as the one that lost his ability to communicate with that quarterback, Lamar Jackson. And yet, the Browns just bingo hired him. And in doing so, they offended the defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz, who they brought back for 2 interviews. Many thought he was going to get the job. They hired Monken, and Schwartz promptly walked out of the building, said goodbye to all the employees, and is leaving, which is a real stunner.
Wow.
And on top of everything, Todd Monken, congratulations. Here's your quarterback room. What a crisis you got. So that's the Browns story. I got friends in Cleveland that are just aghast at the continued decisions, bad decisions, mistakeful decisions made by the Haslam family. So that's the Brown story. Raider Nation. Jeez. We're so deep into the process. All but 2 jobs of the 10 jobs open, all but 2 have been filled. And the 2 franchises that have not filled their jobs are probably the 2 worst run teams in the league now. Raiders are going to meet on Friday night and Saturday morning with Clint Kubiak of the Seattle Seahawks. You have a short window to interview whoever's left out there that's going to the Super Bowl. So that's that window. They're going to interview Kubiak. They did interview Nate Scheelhaas. They've had 11 interviews. They've not decided what they want. I don't know if Tom Brady's confused, whether there's interference from above with Mark Davis. I don't understand why this process has taken so long, but Kubiak is going back for a dinner meeting on Friday. Second interview Saturday morning, has to be done by 12 noon. Arizona, Michael Bidwell. Latest interview, quarterback coach Rams, Mike LaFleur. Interview before that, out of nowhere, Ron Rivera shows up. Ex-Washington Redskin, ex-Chicago Bear, currently general manager of the Cal Golden Bears football program. Ron Rivera interviewed. They also interviewed Anthony Weaver, second interview for him, defensive coordinator, Miami Dolphins. I don't think anybody has any understanding what the hell the Cardinals are doing under Michael Bidwell. So that's that situation. Jets. Guess who they called? Now, Aaron Glenn, first-year coach, went 3-14. Disaster. Vote of confidence before the end of the season. We're bringing him. We're bringing Darren Muji, the first-year GM, back. Aaron Glenn fires 7 assistant coaches on the job for less than a year. Just cleans house again. Guess who we called at the end of the week? John Gruden.
Really?
Asked John Gruden if John Gruden wanted to come in as assistant head coach and offensive coordinator, and John Gruden said, no, thank you.
What?
What a disaster the Jets situation is. Tampa Bay. Now, their coach fired a whole bunch of guys off his staff. Todd Bowles is coming back like Glenn's coming back. Todd Bowles called Sean McDermott, just axed in Buffalo, asked him if he wanted to come back, maybe be a consultant. Sean McDermott said no. So the Jets in Tampa Bay still have their head coaches and got coaching staff openings virtually everywhere. Tennessee Titans, I think they got a good one. Brian Daboll. He was the one that was handpicked by Robert Salah to come in to be the offensive coordinator, meet your quarterback Cam Ward, who we force-fed. They got better and better as the season wore on. So that's going to bear watching to see if Daboll, who many thought was going to Cleveland or Buffalo, see if Daboll can have a huge impact on Cam Ward. Now, the other one is Denver. Boy, this takes some explanation. That was a great season. And the loss of Bo Nix at the end killed him. And then Sean Payton fired his offensive coaching staff.
Wow.
How about that?
The whole thing?
Joe Lombardi, running back coach, wide receiver coach, tight end coach. I mean, that's a real stunner. Wow. So that's a big situation there. Bo Nix, by the way, held a press conference, said, yes, I had a broken ankle. I don't believe it's because of a degenerative ankle situation that he had in college with injuries. He says it was a fluke bend of the ankle. We did the surgery. I'll be back in 6 weeks. I'll be ready for all the OTAs. So very interesting story. That's where we are on the coaching line. So you can start in Pittsburgh and go through Cleveland, work through the dysfunction franchises. Your opinions, please.
The dysfunction franchises. That's a good way to sum it up, because some of those, like the Browns, the Raiders, the Cardinals, they're just getting all the leftovers, the bridesmaids, because the big time franchises are gotten the big time guys, like the Giants got, Harbaugh, so, but the whole, Mike McCarthy, Western Pennsylvania vibes, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's especially since that's like the birthplace of all these great quarterbacks.
Yes.
And a lot of NFL history from that area. And he's coaching his hometown team, and Art Modell was born there. And it's just like, it's like it was just presented just the right way.
I saw the highlights of McCarthy's press conference. It was really emotional.
I'm sure it was. I mean, that's really cool. And, Peyton blew out the entire offensive. I mean, that's amazing, especially given that they had made it to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, I agree.
I wonder what he was upset about. I mean, was there certain things he thought that they weren't maximizing properly?
Well, the fascinating thing is Peyton as head coach, he calls his own plays.
Oh, yeah.
So how does Lombardi bear the brunt of the failure? I don't understand that at all.
That doesn't make sense.
Now, running back coach, they never grew that the way they thought it would turn out to be. Wide receiver coach, very inconsistent. Those guys did not play week to week, Sunday to Sunday with any consistency at all. And some of those guys are veteran guys, and they're paid a lot of money to. So maybe I understand that. But gee, to wipe out all the skill position coaches on your offense if you got to the AFC Championship game and lost the game in a blizzard because you lost your quarterback?
Well, this is just a guess. But imagine, the coaches having their meeting for offense, and, Peyton doesn't like anything he's hearing from these guys. Maybe there's some friction, some argument, and Peyton says, damn it, I'm just going to do it my way. And I'm going to just get coaches that want to do it my way.
Well, either that, or he looks at all those skill players in that offensive staff meeting in the coach's room and say, none of these guys have improved to the point I think they should be 17 games into the season.
Yeah, that's a possible situation.
That's a teaching mode thing. Yeah, so anyhow, that's where we are. You got comments about what just happened. Are there any Cleveland fans out there that would like to join us and talk about that level of dysfunction on Lake Erie? Holy cow. So we go from there to what's happening back here on the West Coast.
Yeah. I mean, Mike McDaniel press conference, that guy, he won the press conference, didn't he, Lee?
It was amazing. I watched the whole thing. I was so impressed. He won the press conference. He used a lot of catchphrases that I say, yeah, that's hitting the right button. In essence, he is the head coach of the Chargers offense. And Mike McDaniel comes in, inherits a great quarterback, and they're going to change the damn offense. They're going to throw first. They're going to run second. And if you look at some of the phrases, first of all, he's a Yale guy. He speaks kind of a different language, right? He's an Ivy League guy. His press conference was so funny in terms of the nouns, verbs, adverbs, and adjectives he used to describe everything that his playbook was all about. But I'm fired up. I'm geeked up. I'm high-spirited. Yes, I'm selfish. I want to be a better coach. And then he talks specifically about his quarterback, Justin Herbert, has a hunger. He's not found his ceiling yet. He is driven. And it was interesting. He talked about his playbook, Mike McDaniel's skill set. He says, I'm going to take this skill set and I'm going to mold it to the strengths of my quarterback. And usually you don't hear that. And then the next hot button phrase, we're going to run a no hostage offense. We will be relentless. And he says, my motion packages, and that's the one thing he was very successful at in years 1 and 2 in Miami, create mismatches defensively and forces the defense to overplay because all these motion packages that they did. He says, my offense is all about angles, windows, quick throws. Get the damn ball out of there. Don't make Justin Herbert sit in the pocket, go through progressions, and take 105 sacks in 2 years. He said, I want a trophy today. And then he brought the house down. He said, there's no difference between me and Harbaugh. We both wear khakis. We both wear shirts and sunglasses, except that Harbaugh's a bit taller. And he really won the press conference. It was interesting. And I talked to guys in Miami that cover the Dolphins. His first 2 years, Tua Tagovailoa threw for 4,600 and then 3,600. Then Tua got hurt. You know, Tua had 2 concussions, shoulder, knee, etc. Fell apart third year, got benched fourth year, and the whole thing fell apart. Tyreek Hill and injuries to Jalen Waddle. But those first 2 years, this guy arrived with a state-of-the-art offense. So he's bringing that playbook, his offense, that quarterback. I'm fascinated. I am so impressed. He really won the press conference, and I knew he was neon lights. That's what he is.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's fun, you know, just to see his smirk on the sidelines or, you know, again, you know, he's kind of, a Yale nerd is a good way to put it. But do you wonder if Harbaugh maybe is thinking, okay, this guy's a talented guy, but is he upstaging me? You know, he's not the head coach. I don't need to hear witty responses to the media. That's for me to do.
But at the end of the day, Harbaugh is the one said, I am going to hire a head coach of my offense.
Oh, that's the guy.
He's giving him all the power authority to put the X's, the O's, the slants, the angles, the quick trigger passes. So that's really going to be interesting. Now, that being said, should I tell you now? Should I forewarn you now? If he puts up mystical numbers like 4,700 yards passing for Justin Herbert this year, a year from today, he'll be gone. He'll be a head coach somewhere else.
Oh, he will. I mean, no doubt. I mean, that's kind of his game plan. But now here's a devil's advocate question. So sure, the first 2 years, he had great numbers. Tua lit it up. And, you know, his philosophy is get that ball out quick, right?
Yep.
Well, in years 3 and 4, Tua was getting work. Tua was getting concussions. We were worried about Tua's
career
or his life, you know, everything about him. So do you think that McDaniel's offensive game plan maybe put Tua at risk? Do you think there's any blame McDaniel should get for the injuries that Tua sustained?
I think Tua degraded because the offensive line degraded, and then Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle both got hurt.
Okay.
I think that's the rationale. Understand McDaniel comes in with a quarterback. He's got 2 tough guy running backs when they want to run the ball, and he's going to get the bookend tackles back. And I got to believe in free agency, they're going to go get a different center and maybe another guard. So he's got an awful lot of tools to work with, but they're going to change the methodology. They're not going to ask Justin Herbert to go into a deep drop, stand in that pocket, try to find receivers, and then get lit up. And that's what happened. 105 sacks in 2 years, John.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's just ghastly. So they won the press conference. I'm kind of amped for Justin Herbert, and obviously amped for Mike McDaniel. You got an opinion? Charger fans in San Diego, Charger fans in Los Angeles. Do you like this hire? Because I'm back on track. I talk to guys that have been with that guy every day. He's different. He is really different. Free spirit, maybe? Is that the correct term?
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely not like a big jock, you know, at all. He doesn't have that manly swag.
Yale nerd.
He's a Yale nerd. So just interesting how, you know, the big tough guys will embrace him, you know, because they know he's the brains of the outfit.
There's a little bit of proven product there. And then, you know, he cut his teeth in San Francisco. So he's learned under some pretty good coaches.
Hell yeah.
Okay, that's all things NFL. You got an opinion? Fans Forum chat box is open. Let's go from that. Let's go to college football for just a brief second here, because the Big Ten Conference making all kinds of news today.
Yeah, the schedules have been announced.
Yeah, they've just announced the entire Big Ten schedule for all the members. Indiana, get this, and I don't know why they're doing this. In late October, they are loading the back end of the October schedule. All the big boys are going to play each other consecutive weekends. It's really interesting. Ohio State is going to play Michigan back-to-back. That's for the Indiana Hoosiers. Oregon is going to play Ohio State and then play Michigan back-to-back. Michigan is going to play Penn State in Indiana back-to-back. And this Ohio State schedule, damn. They play at Indiana, at Southern Cal, at Iowa, and they have a non-conference game at Texas.
Holy crap.
Yeah. I, a Buckeye fan, didn't quite use that adverb. But anyhow, so that's where we are. Those are the schedules that are just out, but it's really interesting. They are loading the month of October with marquee games, with all the marquee teams against each other in about a 3-week window. It'll be must-see TV, all things Big Ten.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a way to market your sport and market your conference. But do you think the whole Indiana thing is sustainable? I mean, Mendoza's going to be gone,
But they brought Josh Hoover in from TCU, one of the nation's leading passers.
Yeah.
And they had a big run in this year's transfer portal again.
I mean, I would love it if Cignetti, is able to keep this train going, but because you look at these other teams, I mean, hell, that's some big time talent. So if that would make the conference so much better if there was an Indiana that was on par with those other 3 programs.
Right now they are.
And they are. Can they keep it up?
Sure. So that's a big question there. Isn't that fascinating? I post that while the Pac-12 is holding athletic director and presidents meetings as we speak. And the Pac-12 doesn't know who they really are. They're actually Mountain West 2.0. The Pac-12 is meeting to try to figure out how many games they're going to play against each other. Oh, I'm so amped to see Boise State or Fresno State or San Diego. It's a rehash of the rehash of the rehash.
Oh, it's better than Wyoming and, Air Force.
So they can't figure out how many conference games they want to play. If they play 7 conference games, that means there's 5 non-conference teams they're going to play. Who you going to go get? That's an issue. Now somebody's floated this idea. Well, we'll take one of our conference members and we'll play him a second time in the season. Call that a non-conference game. How lame is that?
That's lame.
That's really lame.
No, but UCLA scheduled at the Aztecs, didn't they? I think I saw that on their schedule. Yes. So that's a natural, have SC and UCLA. Maybe they'll play.
No, USC still got an opening on their schedule.
Yeah. So,
waiting for Western Kentucky to get back to them.
Exactly. But you can book, the Spartans in San Jose State or the Bulldogs of Fresno State. I mean, that's the kind of thing. And you get like, Power 4, a group of 6, and get some regional rivalries going.
And they still don't have a place to play whatever their quote championship game is going to be, first place versus second place in the new Pac-12. They don't have any idea about that.
See, they should have added UNLV and just have the game at Allegiant Stadium. That would have been perfect.
So they've got a lot of things up in the air, and they're no better than Mountain West 2.0.
Oh, it is better, but it's just only a little bit better.
Not by much. So
not by much.
That's where we are with what the Pac-12 might look back. They got to figure this thing out. And here's the Big Ten showing us that schedule. Here's the Pac-12 saying, well, we'll play some 1AA teams non-conference, and we'll play one of our conference opponents twice in 1 year.
But it's just, imagine if
I
know, but it's hard to get teams to, for example, USC isn't going to want to play Fresno State in Fresno. No way, right? Mm-hmm. They got to come in to the Coliseum. So there's going to be scheduling challenges where, how long in basketball did like UCLA and San Diego State avoid themselves? Just those kinds of weird, weird ways where they just can't match up for some stupid reason.
And nobody at that president's meeting the last 2 days, nobody wanted to address the question, you guys are not Power 4.
Oh, God.
You guys are Group of 6. In essence, the new Pac-12 is no better than the Mountain West, the Mid-American Conference, the AAC, Conference USA, the Sun Belt. Oh, my God. Like I said, this is Mountain West 2.0. So you're a college fan, you want to talk about the Big Ten schedule compared to what we just told you about with the new Pac-12, which doesn't look very impressive to me. Jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open. We are at halftime. We do sports talk the way it should be done. We put topics on the table. I express my opinions that count. Sometimes he has opinions that are okay from left field. But when we're done, John's favorite segment, Fans Forum, involves you, the fans. John, how do people pile in here?
Well, look at the people piling in now. XX Revolution and Retro is in there. Who's that? Matt the Beast and Greg and Flegel, and who else do I see here? Sports Fan and Callan and Timer and Casey and Derek, and everyone's in there. So if you have a question or comment in the world of sports, drop your take in the live chat. YouTube, X, Facebook will get you involved in Fans Forum.
By the way, a couple of other business notes. I write about sports every day of the week on my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. It's their first thing every morning. Think about it. Remember it. Check it out first thing at breakfast. You'll be amazed at the amount of information's out there. Also, you can get our free newsletters. We put out 2 newsletters a day as it relates to sports. You can do that by joining Hacksaw's Insiders Group. Just fill out the orange box on the front of my homepage and get on the email list. We'll do that. Want you to share. Tell everybody what these 2 loudmouths do at 1:30 Mondays and Thursdays. Subscribe. When you subscribe, you will get the alerts every time we put new videos up on the YouTube channel. We do 5 to 7 to 10 videos a week, which we think you will enjoy a great
more
deal.
than that.
Give us a thumbs up. Hit the follow button. Give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us a great deal. You're watching us on live stream. Down to the bottom of the panel, isn't there a follow button on the bottom of the panel?
Oh, yeah.
Hit the follow button, please.
Yeah.
Help us
Subscribe.
grow this thing a great deal. We're at halftime. We're brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. If you go to Dixieline.com, you can see all the things they offer people in San Diego. They've been offering it to them for more than 100 years. John, what do you want to talk about?
You know, this picture here was interesting. I just opened up with an overview shot and this is the La Mesa store. And right now you're seeing the scroll of all the tools, the power tools from DeWalt, and they have power tools from a lot of the other popular brands. But there's a lumber yard right there, right next to it. So, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, pickup truck, dad guy rolling out there, you want to upgrade like the flower beds in your backyard. You want to get some outdoor power equipment, because it's spring cleaning season's coming. They've got all the stuff for you. If you want to get some lumber to build a shed, they've got the wood to do it, but they also have those pre-configured shed kits that you can build on site. So Dixieline is great for the homeowner looking to upgrade, their spectacular estate, or for the builder, the contractor that's building new homes or doing kitchen and bath remodels.
Go to Dixieline.com to see all the things they have to offer. From this day forward, we refer to him as Dixieline Dude.
Oh, yeah.
He knows everything about Dixieline.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the second half.
Long-time friend and client.
Because we're going from all things football, because we are baseball-centric, and there are a lot of breaking stories in Major League Baseball. Start with the Friars.
The Friars, trade and free agent rumors. I've seen some of the names and I have questions.
We have 11 days to go before the Padres open spring training camp. I don't understand why this conversation is taking place at this point, because they need this guy. If they trade this guy, they're a lesser team. I don't care how many people you get back in a transaction for Nick Pivetta. The Yankees, I was told, have called the Padres about Nick Pivetta. We all know the number. He's owed $19 million this year, can opt out after this season. Padres, are they going to keep him for one more year to try to stay in the pennant race? Will you trade him now to free up a lot of money? Who cares if you free up the money? There's nobody left out there to go get in the free agent market that's equal to Nick Pivetta. They are talking about young outfielder Jason Dominguez, who's been there with the Yankees organizationally, has had 2 years of kicks at the can to try to get a starting job, has not been able to win it. They're talking about Nelson Jones, power-hitting outfielder, big strikeout guy at AA and AAA. They're talking about frontline pitcher, young pitcher, coming off surgery pitcher, Clark Schmidt. He could have been included last year in the Michael King deal, but he's back. He is healthy. I'm sorry. Pivetta is the ace of your staff. You trade the ace of your staff. I think you're sending these fans a bad message. That's item one. Item two, everybody's backpedaling on what was said in Japanese, Yu Darvish. I read a column through an interpreter in the Chunichi News in Japan.
Okay.
Involving Yu Darvish and comments. And he has indicated, I would be willing to give up money. I'm not ready to pitch at this time. I'm not ready to retire. I'm going to spend all of 2026 rehabbing. I will then attempt to throw. If I can pitch and my heart's in it, then I'll come back in 2027. At the end of the day, there's $14 million out there that he's on the hook for. He says this has to be talked about with the Padres. He's not, I get the sense, reading between the lines in the Chunichi News. He does not want to give up all $14 million. That's okay.
Yeah.
Give him some money as a consultant. Defer the rest of the money till 2027 if he comes back. If he does not come back, then you have to convince him to forfeit the rest of the money that he's owed. But the problem is, even if you get a chunk of the $14 million today, there's hardly anybody out there to spend it on that's going to replace what the greatness of Darvish was. So what does Darvish do? Does he give it all back? Does he accept the idea, let's defer some of it, and based on how my rehab goes, we'll see what next year brings? You know, amongst the guys that are out there, Boston's Lucas Giolito. But he's coming off health issues. He did pitch well at the back half of the schedule, but he's an old dog. Nick Martinez. He's not coming here for $1.5 million, not when he used to make $15 million in Cincinnati. Chris Bassett. Physical problems at the end in Toronto last year. He's a good fourth or fifth guy, but how much are you going to pay Bassett? Walker Buehler's still out there, which is kind of amazing to me.
Yeah.
He had spurts in Boston. He pitched okay, then he didn't do okay. And Julio Urias, who was 60-25 with the Dodgers before he got suspended on the domestic abuse cases. I don't think they're in the running for Zach Gallen, Price, and would have to give up their second-round draft pick if they signed him. They're definitely not in the running for Framber Valdez, Price, and he wants a 4 to 6 year contract. The only ones out there might be a 1-year rental for Justin Verlander or Max Scherzer, but there's a lot of age there, although Verlander pitched really well the back half of the season. At one point, he was 1-10, then he came back the second half of the year, and his ERA was like 3.60. He was really competitive. So we're 11 days out. They got money issues, they got the Darvish issue, and they got who can we go get at such a late date? So, John, you're the Padre fanatic. You're from left field. Give me a thought.
Okay, now the Yankees, you talk about Jason Dominguez, you talk about Clark Schmidt, and there's one other name.
Nelson Jones, a hot AAA kid who strikes out a ton and doesn't hit.
Okay.
Hits home runs.
But are we talking about those as 3-for-1 as a package? See, that's the kind of thing that Preller needs to do, you know?
Those three?
Well, Jason Dominguez is a legit hitter. I mean, have you seen that guy? He's got huge arms. I mean, that guy would be a great DH. He can play a little outfield for you. I mean, Clark Schmidt was the pitcher that you thought the Padres should have got in the Soto deal instead of Michael King.
And it turned out to be a win for the Padres in terms of King. You get Schmidt, maybe.
Yeah, so, I mean, and then on top of that, all those guys are making somewhere around the league minimum, you know, and you get rid of $19 million off the book. So that seems like the kind of deal. But imagine if it went through and then suddenly Pavetta's pitching for the Yankees against the Red Sox, his old team. That'd be kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there was one other name. I think it was in your best 15. Did you say there was something going on with
Paul Goldschmidt?
Goldschmidt, yeah.
There has been conversation. Goldschmidt is still out there. He's got a lot of miles on him. He's willing to come in as somebody's part-time first baseman, part-time DH. And there has been conversation, I was told. If you connect the dots, Goldschmidt could be a platoon with Gavin Sheets. Goldschmidt could be a part-time guy. And you get Goldschmidt for maybe $2 million and then pack some incentives if he hits. Now, he hit .336 against left-handed pitching last year for the Yankees.
Yeah.
He didn't hit worth a look against right-handers. So if you had Goldschmidt and Sheets in some combo at first base at a bonus-laden incentive contract, maybe that helps you.
Doesn't it feel like remember when the Padres signed, you know, Mike Piazza and, you know, some of these guys that were big-time hitters in their day.
At the back end.
But they're on the back end and they're collecting a paycheck, maybe puts a few fans in the stands. But to your point, yeah, if you just hit against lefties, maybe that could work. You know, it's funny you say, well, it should be, there's no way Nick Martinez is going to take a $1.5 million, but now you're saying Goldschmidt's going to take $2 million plus incentives. I don't know if he will.
He took 1.8 last year from the Yankees, and then he made a lot more because he did have a decent season.
But see, he had a decent season, so he's going to say, hey, man, I got to get at least 5, you know? So I don't know if they can make the math work on that.
What do you do about the Darvish situation?
You know, again, I Darvish thinks differently, you know, and I think it's culture and it's his character. And he's, in my opinion, he's doing a very has a lot of integrity. He's saying, listen, I'm not going to pitch. I'm not going to rehab because I might not even throw. I don't even know if I can come back. He knows that would be a disservice to the Padres if he were paid for that. Now, no American would ever turn down that money. I mean, has any player walked away from money in their deal? That's probably happened in some cases.
It has, but off the top of my head, I can't remember. But
I mean, didn't Schilt walk away from money? Or, that's happened too.
Well, Mike Schilt, he left $4 million in 2 years on the table when he didn't want to manage anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a rare situation as well. So I don't know. It just seems like this is something that they can work out because both sides have respect for one another. And, there's obviously some ways, like you say, pay him some money, be a consultant. You ever see like the people like these rogue video clips on social media that'll be up in the high rises taking pictures of the bullpen,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll see guys out there with them, see Niebla, but Darvish is always kind of out there. He's always kind of with his guys. So yeah, give him some money, get his advice, his wisdom. He has a lot to share.
Has the boat sailed though on where they're going to go get pitching?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, it's like you make that deal with the Yankees, and here you got Clark Schmidt you can plug in. Is he as good as Pivetta? No. But, you're going to get Dominguez. You're going to get some other bats in there. That's what he has to do. He has to flip like a 1 for 3, get 19 mil off the book, and maybe only have to put $1.5 million on because you get 3 guys at the minimum. That's the way that he has to make it work.
Okay, Padre fans, if we were doing sports talk radio, I'd tell you get off your ass and get on the phone. Instead, I just want you to tell us what you think. Fire me a question and answer an opinion on this Padre situation. Fans Forum chat box is open for Padre fans. We go from all things baseball to what's going to be an unbelievable week in the NBA.
Oh, my God. I mean, just these guys here. Look at all these bobbleheads.
These are guys that are on the trading block right now with the NBA trade deadline just around the corner. Giannis Antetokounmpo has told Milwaukee it is now time to move on. After 12 years, 10-time All-Star. Now, he's hurt right now, but he'll be back before the end of the season. He said, I'd like to be traded. This was a great player that got them a championship, and then the whole franchise around him fell apart. It is amazing the rumors out there of the bids that have made in the last 48 hours for Giannis. Golden State has stepped forward, and the Warriors have offered 2 number 1s, Jimmy Butler, who's recovering from knee surgery, and Jonathan Kuminga in a 4-for-1 package for the 31-year-old Giannis. Milwaukee wants to move him out of the division and maybe even out of the conference. Suddenly, Golden State looks like a very attractive location, which is amazing. And Giannis seems to have a good relationship with Steve Kerr. Miami is interested. Miami's willing to part with 2 number 1s and one other young players, Ketel Ware, really good guard. The Knicks are in the running. The Knicks are trying to shop Karl Anthony Towns, who's been kind of a in and out, up and down, good and bad performer. They're willing to trade 2 number 1s and Karl Anthony Towns. I don't know that that's enough for Milwaukee. The Kuminga storyline just continues to be wild out there. They want him out of there. They don't want to trade him within the division. There was a rumbling the Lakers called, and Golden State said no. First of all, I was told Golden State said, you don't have anything we want, and you don't have any number 1s or number 2s, so you're not a player in this equation. Sacramento, but they don't want some of the people who have baggage in Sacramento. That becomes an issue. So it looks like he's going to get moved. I don't know where Kuminga's going to go unless it's possibly to Miami. And that rumor is out there also. Jimmy Butler, he's got 1 year left on his contract. He's a really very good player. I'm kind of stunned that Golden State would shop him while he's recovering from knee surgery, but trades are part of the game. John Morant, Memphis. I don't think no one wants the contract. I don't think anyone wants the attitude, and now there's an injury history there involving him. And the surprise one, the last one, was the Chicago Bull guy, Kobe White. Good scorer, off guard, pretty good player. Chicago's having an iffy type season. Rumor is that he's probably about to get traded. So this Giannis thing has just kind of turned the NBA upside down because now it is official that it's his decision. I've decided to move on. And they have a good working relationship. This is not a bitter parting. This is reality. He wants a change of address. And because he's such a marketable product, they're going to get something. Him to Golden State. Wow. Would that put them back on the map?
Yeah. I mean, as a longtime Warrior fan, I'm thrilled by this because, the Warriors are getting older, and they've got to kind of move their assets around. So, yeah, is there a package? I mean, certainly they've got Kuminga that they need to move on. So hopefully they can figure out a way. Yeah, it's just you look at all these guys and you're just, some of these guys are characters. I mean, not good characters necessarily. I mean, with Ja Morant, I don't know if you really want to take a gamble on a guy like that. But going back to Giannis, it is interesting too because he's got a big heart, and he really embraced the city of Milwaukee.
Yep, he brought him back.
Yeah, and I mean, how many people in America have embraced the city of Milwaukee? They don't get a lot of love in Milwaukee.
Not since Oscar Robertson or Lou Burdett.
Yeah, exactly. So it is kind of special, especially since he's from Greece, and he found a home in Milwaukee,
and he kept staying there when he could have been a free agent. He stayed. Now there's a big contract extension that is right there on the horizon. A year from now becomes a free agent, but he goes to Golden State. Boy, that puts the Warriors back on the map.
Oh yeah, it does. It does. And I'd love for Steve Kerr to reload. I mean, Steve Kerr is a special guy. Mm-hmm. And, he's one of the few coaches in the NBA that will speak out on issues, right? Yeah. And, he's got comments on what's going on in Minneapolis and other parts of, a lot of conflict. And I scroll through Twitter, and then some people are saying, hey man, I don't want to hear any political stuff from Steve Kerr. And then other people jump in and says, hey man, read Steve Kerr's bio. He has legit credentials to offer an opinion on what's going on in the Middle East or any other kind of conflict in the world.
His father died at the hands of terrorists in Beirut.
Exactly. I mean, what a story. So, I mean, I really like Steve Kerr. I mean, even back when he was at U of A, do you remember back then in the 80s? And he would shoot and hit a three, and then the whole arena would go, Steve Kerr. And then it was just great. He had a great run in the NBA, and he's just a really good coach. So I mean, there's two Warriors assets right there. I hope they find places that are going to work for them. But if they could get Giannis, that'd be great.
So that's where we are. You're an NBA fan. Feel free. Lakers. I didn't say anything about what happened in Cleveland, did I? No, I didn't say anything about the Lakers walking into Cleveland, who did not have three of their stars and getting killed. My God. This Laker basketball team's driving me out of my mind.
Yeah, Cleveland fan. I wondered, there's probably no love for LeBron there, is there?
No, I think they want LeBron back next year on the farewell tour. LeBron's a free agent.
Okay.
I mean,
that's a nice exit plan.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, he loves Akron. He does a lot of charitable stuff still in the city of Akron, south of Cleveland. He got them their first ring. That would complete the circle. Go back there again.
Yeah, but then he wouldn't retire. He'd still be hanging around.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He's going to play till 45 like Tom Brady.
Yeah. So that's where we are. NBA fans, you want to talk about Giannis? You're a pro basketball fan, feel free. Jump on board. We go from that. Hockey Hotline is open for business.
Yeah, some big trade talks here with the Canucks and the Rangers.
Yeah, let's just talk about a number of different places around the National Hockey League. Let's start, first of all, with the Vancouver Canucks. This is devastating. Thatcher Demko, their all-star goaltender, Scripps Ranch.
Oh, yeah.
Has undergone emergency hip surgery, gone for the rest of the year. This in the aftermath of having had knee surgery a year and a half ago. He had nerve damage, very fluky injury that wiped out a chunk of a season. He's 35 years of age. I don't know that he's going to come back. And there's nothing to come back to. They have shredded that entire roster. Vancouver's attempting to trade Elias Pettersson, who's making almost $12 million a year and has just gone from a prolific goal scorer from Scandinavia to just being a guy that doesn't seem to work real hard. And of course, they've strip mined the rest of that Vancouver roster. So that's a bit of a surprise there. We are waiting for the shoe to drop involving the New York Rangers. They sent out a letter to all the season ticket holders. Somehow John Riley got a copy of the letter. Chris Drury, the general manager, announced, we are going to change the makeup of this team immediately. And the trade deadline is February 5. and they are going to trade Artemi Panarin, who's making almost $12 million a year, their leading scorer. He's got a year left. They're not gonna sign him next season. He has a no trade clause. They are going to meet with him, work with him. Get this rumor: Panarin to the LA Kings. I don't know who the Kings would give up. I don't know how the Kings could take on a guy with a near $12 million contract who then has to be signed. Panarin has made the statement, you give me the freedom to talk to the team you want me to trade for. I will talk to them about a contract extension, and if we can reach agreement on the extension, I'll accept the trade. But you can't get me to approve a trade without the extension. But the Kings, this happened last night. It happened overnight, according to Canadian sources. The Kings are in the running for Panarin. He's got 19 goals this season. He's got I'm trying to remember the number I wrote. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. He's got 323 goals in the course of his career. The other team that just surfaced, aside from the Kings, is San Jose. And this is weird. Would he accept this? Well, if it's a money deal, San Jose's got volumes of cap space because San Jose's been building. They got kids everywhere. But the chance to take him, to have Panarin go to San Jose to play with Will Smith and Celebrini, wow, that would really push their rebuild back. But does he want to go play in San Jose? So that's one. It's going to be we think there's upheaval coming in Toronto. Maple Leafs, imagine this at home. They just went 0-4-1 on a homestand at Air Canada Centre with a big payroll. It's just absolutely stunning. So that's what we are. Trade deadline is coming. Keep an eye out. There are going to be some significant deals there in hockey. I feel bad for Thatcher Demko. He's been such a warrior in goal for the Vancouver Canucks, and for him to have this emergency surgery on his hip again after the experimental surgery for the nerve damage in his knee. Geez, a tough break.
Yeah, that is. Just thinking more broadly about all this, Vancouver is a really cool place. Have you been there?
Yeah, great city.
Oh, man. And so about 10 years ago, I went there with our family, and so my daughter was doing like a triathlon up in British Columbia. And we had a few days in Vancouver, and all these bridges in the town, and you saw the hockey arena. It was, if I remember, it was right on the water, and the architecture of the arena was it was very special. It wasn't very generic.
It goes with the lake.
Yeah.
It was originally called BC Place. I think it's called Rogers Place now.
Yeah. Well, Rogers is the big cable company in
Canada. Big communications company nationwide.
Yeah. So, but anyways, Vancouver was a really cool city. It really reminded me a lot of San Francisco. It had similar vibes. And so when, Vancouver had the Grizzlies and then they moved out. So really the Canucks is all they've got, right? As far as a major sports franchise. But, while we were there, we went to there was a minor league baseball game. It was, I don't know, single A, double A ball up there.
Pacific Northwest League.
Yeah. And that was cool. Mm-hmm. So anyways, Vancouver, to me, as a West Coast sports fan, it's just like that other West Coast city that I don't always think about. And it's kind of neat that they're in the NHL and they had success, but now you said they've had a lot of bad luck and a lot of problems.
A lot of bad management decisions.
Yeah. So you just like to see them get back on their feet.
Yeah, we talked about last week, all the players that are already traded away. This thing is just kind of falling apart. Demko's the last guy standing.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I mean, a month ago they traded Quinn Hughes to the Minnesota Wild, their superstar defenseman, and now they're shopping Pettersson.
Fire sale.
Yeah, exactly. Bad situation. So that's all things there. You feel free to jump on board if Hockey Hotline is open for business. We go from that. What's going on at Torrey Pines? Wow.
Yeah, this is like Chamber of Commerce video. We're going to see the paragliders over the bluffs of Torrey Pines. It's going to be fantastic.
I should call my brother on the East Coast where it's below zero and say, turn your TV on. It's 83 degrees on the first green at Torrey Pines. I'm standing over there underneath that tree. The big storyline, Torrey Pines, obviously not just the 147-man field, in which I think is a wide-open tournament here for the next 4 days. The big storyline is obviously the reemergence of Brooks Koepka. I'll tell you what, I've been to a lot of press conferences. This one was just from the heart, and it was wide open for business. Koepka when LIV came into existence, ripped the LIV for stealing all the players and paying them ridiculous money. And then Koepka took the money and he jumped too. He came back. He went to LIV, had some marginal success. And 6 weeks ago came the story. He applied for readmission to the PGA Tour. Now, he paid a steep price to get back. He had to pay $5 million re-entrance fee that went to charity. He had to forfeit all of the equity money he'd make over the next 5 years from that bonus plan. He has to forfeit any FedEx bonus money he could get at the end of the season if he gets into the playoffs at the end of the PGA Tour. He has to qualify for a whole bunch of tournaments. So he paid a hell of a price to come back. Well, he was really concerned about what it was going to be like for him to come to Torrey Pines, his first tournament back. His press conference was from the heart, most honest thing. He said, I'm nervous. I just don't know how I will be treated. Well, he was treated silently today. He teed off at 9:32 this morning, one of the early groups that went off, and nobody hassled him, but nobody cheered him either. It was just kind of really strange. He said, but this is a very different feel for me. He said, I came home for my family, and then he revealed that his family did not travel with him while he was in the LIV tour when they were traveling all these global tournaments, and his wife lost a baby while he was gone. So that's why he decided to come home. But he was steadfast. I don't regret my move to the LIV. He says, I don't know how they're going to solve LIV PGA's tour problems. He says, I'm not a political guy. He admitted the LIV tournament's kind of like a circus. He said Tiger Woods opened the path for him to come back to the PGA Tour with Woods' idea of sanctions, penalties, paybacks, etc. But he said Woods was also very critical. Tiger Woods told Brooks Koepka, you turned your back on the tour that made you really good. So he was very open, very honest. It was kind of a unique press conference. I came away very impressed with that. Now, that being said, another one's come back. Patrick Reed, former U.S. Open winner, who went abroad, didn't like it. He's come back, but he's going to be suspended from now till August of this year. But he's come back for the same reason. And there's 3 others that have now filed application to come back that are also facing suspension, including the San Diegan Pat Perez, Kevin Na, and a young golfer, Hudson Swafford. So that's where we are with that. Now, quickly, I'll just go through the leaderboard. As we were taking the air at midday today, in the middle of the first round, the leader was Max Grayserman. He had 4 birdies at the turn, 8, 9, 10, and 11. He was 7 under par. Wow. So he is the leader. Just beyond him at 5 under, the great Englishman Justin Rose, who got hot, and Shahith Theegala, who's got all this raw talent but hasn't been able to harness any consistency at all. They're 2 strokes back of Grierson at 5 under. Patrick Cantlay, who I think is a budding star, is sitting there at 1 under par. Tough day for other guys. Xander Schauffele, +2. Koepka, +2. J.J. Spawn, +2. That means those guys are 9 strokes back of the leader late in the first round. Really tough day for other people. Ludwig Aberg, the Scandinavian, 6 over par. So some of the marquee names way back of the pack, led by Koepka, and a bunch of unique names at the top. So, John, your reaction to the quotes that I pulled out of the press conference with Brooks Koepka. I was so impressed with the person.
Yeah, it seems very heartfelt, you know, and I like that. I like it when guys are just being real, and that's what we see here. But the thing that, you know, that kind of rubs me the wrong way is the way that all the PGA golfers are, you know, they get all prickly, you know, that you left and you're coming back and you got to pay a fine, and they should just welcome him back. I mean, what's the big deal? I mean, he learned his lesson and he's come back. I mean, so just welcome him in and just like, hey, bud, you know, you're part of the family. And
well, he will be. I'm sure that they'll find a comfort zone. But at this point, he'd hardly talk to any of the guys.
Well, now he's going to have a chance to.
Yep.
You know, so and this is a great tournament to do it. And it's nice to see that, you know, the dam is starting to break or starting to see a few more defections. You know, it's kind of like the Berlin Wall coming down.
Yeah. it feels weird not to have Tiger here, because I think in the history, I think Tiger Woods' successes at Torrey Pines made this tournament special. And
well, remember the U.S. Open? We had the
Sure,
broken leg
right.
or the knee or whatever that was.
I think it's really sad that Phil Mickelson is not part of this at all. And
Mhm.
again, he was the ringleader that led everybody, and he was the one who's recruiting other guys to breach their tour card rules and come take a payday to go to Saturday. And Phil's not here. Phil's no longer in anybody's conversation. It's like he's become the enemy, which is kind of sad because he was our favorite son.
Yeah, for a lot of fans, he was the guy you always rooted for.
Fans man.
A fans man, but you know, he's got a personality that can divide people. He's got fans and haters, even before the whole live golf thing started.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's made a number of comments on social media on taxes and politics that have rubbed people the wrong way.
So that's where we are. You're
Yeah.
a golf fan. Talk about Brooks Koepka. Talk about Torrey Pines. And, you know, one of the side stories that hasn't got a lot of conversation, the PGA Tour, according to Sports Illustrated, is going to take away 6 tournaments off their schedule for 2027. And a lot of people say, I hope they're not going to take this one.
No
I'd hate to see that, why they would take this one, because this has good TV ratings. This is one of the first tours after the start of the season. This is historic. It's iconic. Tiger has spoken about Torrey Pines. We know what Phil has done at Torrey Pines. So I would hope that they would not downgrade this tournament. But the rumor is that they're going to try to make a more compact PGA Tour schedule, and they may lop off 6 different events. But, get rid of Greensboro, get rid of some of the others, and stay with this one.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain golf courses that have a very unique look and feel, and Torrey is one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of other courses that, just somewhere in middle America that are very beautiful, but they look like the next really beautiful course.
Yep.
So hopefully they keep it. But why are they scaling back? I mean,
they're trying to compact the schedule so all the named golfers will play in more of the specific tournaments rather than just the big money tournaments.
Interesting. Because, usually ownership wants to create more games, more events, more money.
Well, we've not seen Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy here. That's the rationale.
It's interesting. The early part of the year, isn't there like a tournament
in Dubai?
But isn't there one in Hawaii?
Well, there were 2 in Hawaii. One of them's gone away already.
And then there might be one out here in the desert. And then I know that, the clam bake up in Pebble Beach, that's kind of in this neck of the woods of the calendar, right?
Well, the calendar is all geographic. They start in Hawaii, then they come here on the West Coast, then they go to Florida, and then obviously you move into the Grand Slam season too.
Okay.
So that's where we are. I don't think it's going to be removed from our calendar here, but I hope it isn't.
I doubt it.
Okay, we go from that. Let's just quickly run around. Got hot headlines, bunch of other places.
Yeah, I got some more tennis news.
Let's just talk about tennis. Australian Open. We are headed for the semifinals and then the championship round. Alcaraz and Sinner on a collision course, but Djokovic is going to play Sinner in the semifinal on Friday. And this has been a weird week for Djokovic. He's always involved in weird controversy, COVID shots, getting suspended, take your passport, go home. 3 of his matches leading up to the semifinals were stopped because of injuries, other guys' injuries.
Wow.
And he was losing in his Wednesday match in a quarterfinal. He was down 4-6, 3-6, and about to get eliminated, and his opponent hurt his hip.
Hand of God.
Had to default.
That's
so
crazy.
So Djokovic has survived and is moving on to the semifinals against Sinner, and then obviously Alcaraz is going to play the Russian Zverev in the other semifinal. So that's going to be fun to watch. Soccer. Jeez. So we have the World Cup coming here. And now we got this global upheaval against Trump. The president of the German Federation has called for an emergency meeting of European soccer federations and is proposing they pull out of the World Cup games to be played in the U.S. The former president of FIFA, Sepp Blatter, has stood up and indicated we should not be doing business with Donald Trump because of the way Donald Trump has acted globally, his tactics, the Gestapo, the ICE situation, his siding with Putin in Ukraine, his intimidation of global leaders, calling it a disgraceful degradation of the relationship that the United States has built with all the global powers. They are proposing a boycott of the World Cup of Soccer. There's 28 different federations now that have agreed to go to this meeting to talk about that. I can't believe that this could happen. But we're sitting here now with this global pushback against all things that Trump has done. So we got that. USA Soccer. Guess who's back? Wow, Trinity Rodman. And she is back full bore. Team USA wrapping up another round of friendlies versus Paraguay and Chile. Shutout on both. Trinity Rodman going up and down the pitch, scores winning goals in both those games. Team USA is now 6-0 in friendlies as they get ready to go. Next on the calendar is the She Believe Cup, which is a really good global tournament. Auto racing, Formula One. We've talked extensively about the new car, new engine, new aerodynamics package. Everything about the 2026 F1 cars is very different. 3 days of testing in the rain at Barcelona. And out of nowhere, the Italian second-year driver Kimo Antonelli in a Mercedes runs a lap in the rain in 1 minute and 17 seconds. And people saying, what? Max Verstappen only ran 27 laps because of rain. His rookie teammate, Isaac Hadjar, crashed. McLaren with Lando Norris on the track for only 1 day in early testing. Sir Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari ran only 25 laps. They've had continued electrical problems. And we've talked extensively about Team Cadillac entering F1. And I've kept telling you how hard this is going to be. So Team Cadillac tests with its new machinery, and Val Bottas, the European driver, they tested for 3 days. The hottest lap run by anybody is 1 minute and 17 seconds. Cadillac's best lap was 1 minute, 24 seconds. They're 7 seconds back.
That's a lot.
That's impossible.
Yeah.
So they've got so much work to do. So, John, we got unbelievable. Aussie Opens are really fun. And just ahead, this Friday semifinal is going to be something. And then the Sunday men's final is going to be amazing. We got soccer to talk about, all things about your president. Feel free to comment, too, about Formula One. Go ahead.
There's no way they're going to boycott the World Cup. I mean, that's just not going to happen. I mean, first of all, the World Cup is the biggest sporting event in the world.
Yes.
Okay. You've got guys that have planned their career to peak at this moment, like the Olympics. You know, you've got guys that are prepared to be on the biggest stage at the prime of their career. This is their moment. They're not going to rob that. All the nations of the world love the World Cup. They want to be represented. And by the way, the FIFA has been stroking Trump, and they already gave him a gold statue.
Made that up.
Yeah. And, and by the way, even if FIFA and all the, relegations or whatever, they all boycotted this thing, it's not going to change Trump. I mean, he's still going to do what Trump does, so I don't see that happening.
It's just amazing. But historically, politics has crossed the street corner with sports. We did boycott the Olympics under Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, but I think that was a mistake. I mean, really. I mean, we need to always first of all, it's a disservice to your own athletes.
I think so.
To block them from doing what they love and what gives them happiness. But on the other hand, in my opinion, we should present to the world that we're the good guys and that we want to talk and we want to cooperate. And when you just kind of get into grudge mode and says, we're not going to play. I mean, it's just bad form. And then you get the throwback. Because remember in '84, Russia boycotted, or the USSR boycotted the Olympics in America.
Yep.
And then then you got, superstars like Mary Lou Retton wins the gymnastics thing. But was she really going up the best of the best? You never know. And it puts a kind of a cloud over it.
But, that being said, so we expect all the global powers to say everything is fine. Well, your president demeans the whole world and degrades everybody every time he holds a press conference. But that's everything's fine.
I'm not saying everything's fine. I'm just saying I don't see them boycotting this thing, cancel. Now, the one thing they could do if they really wanted to make a stance is move the venues to some other location on the planet. And their point would be delivered, but they wouldn't cancel the World Cup. I mean, it's just too much riding on this thing.
So they play Canada, Mexico, and then find a third venue to play the bulk of the other games.
Yeah. Or they just move the whole thing to Europe or something.
I don't know how you do that in 15 minutes. I don't know how you do that in 6 months.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that's where we are. You got an opinion? I bet you got an opinion. Fans Forum chat box is open. Hey, we get to this podcast where you get the chance now to tell us what you think. Podcast brought to you by Dixie Line Lumber and Home Centers. Been in business for more than 100 years in San Diego. Got projects, they got materials. Want ideas? They can be your best friend, your consultant. Go to dixieline.com to see all the things they have to offer. John, I'm ready. You're ready. Wow, I bet there's a few people who got things to say.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Belichick comments are all over the place.
Go ahead.
Let's start here with MM Forever. Hey, Belichick is a known cheater. No Hall of Fame, period.
Well, you can't say period, exclamation point, never. Is that a blemish on his resume? Sure, it is. But he's got 6 Super Bowl rings and ran one of the greatest organizations in modern day football. I don't quite understand how 11 people could not vote for him as a first-time entrant. But that, historically, there've been other great coaches who've won multiples of Super Bowl, did not get in the first time, led by greatest modern-day offensive mind of all, Bill Walsh. So I think he'll get in probably next year. I guess I don't subscribe to the theory. One voter anonymously indicated he did not vote for Belichick because there are too many great senior players that were backed up in the queue in line who don't have much time left to be voted in, whereas Belichick was just a first-time entrant. So he voted for players rather than another coach. So that's probably a piece of the equation. But I bet there's a bunch of people who just don't like his history, his relationships, and the fact he got caught cheating twice. And maybe that's also going to work against Robert Kraft, who didn't get in last year, and I'm told is not getting in this year.
Yeah, I mean, did he cheat? Yeah, he cheated. But he's still a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, and that's kind of my take on all these things, is that you look at the whole body of work, the whole life, and you have to factor it all in. But even if you factor it all in, he is part of the story of the NFL. So he has to be in there. But yeah, they should make a big point of it. This guy cheated. Now, if you were to stack rank how egregious certain cheating things are, how do you rank like a Pete Rose betting on the game, Mark McGuire or Barry Bonds that are on the juice, Deflategate, or what was the other one? Spygate. I mean, there's probably been a number of them, but what is the worst of the worst offense?
I think the steroid cheaters is beyond anything else, because that actually influenced games for a long period of time. And then maybe Pete Rose betting on baseball, though we don't know if it influenced the outcome of games. And whatever he did with Spygate, Deflategate, probably minuscule.
Now, let's go back to Deflategate, because that was a case where they would lower the air pressure of the balls because Brady liked them that way
in a playoff game.
But don't they nowadays the kickers can have their own balls?
They have their own cable, but they're all under the handling of NFL officials.
Okay, so but the point is that there's a spectrum of inflation or deflation, that you can be within the standards.
And they changed the guidelines of how you handle balls after Deflategate occurred.
But even with the current rules, can't quarterbacks kind of have their ball? I mean, maybe they're more, they like a certain model of a certain brand more than another. I don't believe
so.
No,
the kickers have a different type of ball.
Okay, but everyone else just uses the standard issue.
I believe so.
Kind of like Major League Baseball.
Yes.
Whatever they roll out there is what you throw.
Yep.
Interesting. But and then Spygate is pretty bad. I mean, what was worse, Belichick's Spygate or Harbaugh's?
Good question. Harbaugh's went on for 3 years. Spygate was an isolated incident, I think, over 1 year. But it happened.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, that's where we are. Let's move on.
Okay, moving on.
But I don't agree here that forever. No, not forever ban. No, can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, people are so quick to wag their finger and be part of cancel culture. Hey, Derek says, hey, hello from the Great White North. What does this say? Kulu, Kulu, Cuckoo, Cuckoo? What the hell is that?
That's probably really cool.
You think so? I don't know. It's probably some Winnipeg speak.
Winnipeg or Edmonton. I got friends up there that is really the Great White North at this time of the year.
Well, yeah, that's probably hella cold. It's negative in the Fahrenheit range,
Yes.
right? Yeah, big time. Okay, let's go here to Casey. Good afternoon, guys. And Hacksaw, with the NHL trade deadline coming, do you see my Kings adding or standing pat at the deadline?
Well, as we just gave you the bulletin, they're talking to the Rangers about Panarin. But I don't see how the Kings can take on a $12 million contract. And he's a walk-free agent, and he's already told the New York Rangers, you can trade me. But I will not approve a trade unless I have a window to talk to the club I'm being traded to about the extension. If I get an extension, then I will probably approve the trade, but I have to have that approval. They just announced, this hasn't gotten a lot of pub, the Rangers just announced yesterday, Panarin is not going to play from now through the trading deadline. He's sitting out. He's sitting in the press box. They call it roster management. They don't want him to get hurt. So that's another week of hockey. He's not going to play for the Rangers. They're leading the scorer.
Okay, again, I'm a hockey newbie, but help me out here and understand this. So, what is like the record for the number of goals in a season? Or to ask it a different way, when the top goaler, the top numbers of goals in any given season, is it around 50 or 60?
Yeah, the super, it's changed, but if you get 50 or 60 now, Austin Matthews of the Maple Leafs had 60 plus just a couple of years ago. Panarin's a really good goal scorer.
You said he had 19.
He had 19 and so far half a season.
Yeah, so that's good. Maybe it's not uber good, but it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
But I mean, you walk in the room, in the Ranger dressing room, and his stall is empty, but he's sitting in the press box because they won't allow him to dress. He can practice, but he can't play because they're going to try to trade him.
That's dumb.
What a weird atmosphere that is. But the Kings in San Jose, I was told, are both after Panarin of the Rangers, but there's a big amount of money that's involved in any transaction. Good question.
Okay, let's go here to Teamer. Hey, Hacksaw, who do you think the Eagles hire for the offensive coordinator position?
They're interviewing everybody. But, the burning question is Sirianni going to take over play calling responsibility? Will he be a coordinator Monday through Friday with no input as to what they're actually going to call in specific down and distance situations? They were in on Daboll up until the fact that Brian Daboll took the Tennessee Titans coordinator's job just 24 hours ago to go work with Cam Ward. So they're talking to everybody. It'll be intriguing to see. Think about this. There are 10 head coaches that got fired. Most every staff has about a total of 18 assistants. And virtually, when there's a head coaching change, all those assistants go out on the open market. They're unemployed too. So there is so much movement of coaches in so many different places.
But those guys kind of follow the leader, right? They all have their guys.
Well, unless their guy doesn't get hired somewhere else, then they're out on the open market. I mean, there's a lot of changes, a lot of places on the assistant coaching staff.
Now, if I recall, Philadelphia Eagle fans are sometimes very angry with Nick Sirianni.
Oh,
yeah.
I concur.
So, what's the problem? What are people pissed off about?
Some people think it's Sirianni's leadership. Some think there's too many divas on that roster, a.k.a. A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Some people think it's Jalen Hurts, got limitations as to how he can make throws, etc. And then some of us of the opinion it's not the same roster. You had so many injuries in the offensive line, everything changed offensively. I'm just looking here at this list that I had. Philadelphia just interviewed Jim Bob Cooter, who's the offensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts.
Cooter?
But Cooter does not have play calling responsibility. That goes to Shane Steichen. So he's one of the hot candidates that they're looking at. Let me see if I got some other hot names I could tell you about in Philadelphia. But they've been talking to a lot of different offensive coordinators, and so it just remains to be seen. They talked to Jared Johnson, the Houston Texans quarterback coach. They put in a request. I don't think they've interviewed Charlie Weiss, who was at Ole Miss and supposed to go to LSU. I think Philadelphia wanted to talk to him. That's not happened. And one of the coordinators that's still out there who was asked to leave Kansas City is Matt Nagy. He's not been hired by anybody. So those are some of the hot names out there in Philadelphia.
So we got to create like a hacksaw museum and have all these crib notes in there. This is incredible.
Of course, it's incredible.
Look at all this fine detail. I mean, if you see this is crazy.
Every day, every day there's a different list of names, and this is from what I get from my network of people.
I mean, good for you. I mean, I
know what I know.
Yeah, I know, but it's cool how you're so old school in the way you do it. And you gather the info, you write it down, and it kind of bakes into your brain so you can kind of refer to it.
You are right. My brain is baked.
Okay. It's good. It's good form.
I just answered your question. You make sure you tell your friends we know what we know.
Okay, let's go to Callan. Afternoon, gents. Saw what kind of reception do you think Koepka gets at Torrey Pines this weekend?
It was very quiet today. Now, there were not a lot of people. It was really cold this morning. San Diego was 38 degrees. And out there by the water, it's pretty damn chilly. When he teed off at 9:32 a.m., there were not a ton of people, but I saw some of the video clips. It was just nice, respectful applause. Nobody hassled him. Now we'll see as he plays through and the crowds get bigger. He had early tee time today. He'll have a late tee time tomorrow, and the weather holds and it's nice. There'll be a lot more people out there tomorrow. And then if he makes the cut, which he probably will, then we'll see, because there'll be a mob scene out there on Saturday and Sunday. But so far, very respectful. And like I said, I was really impressed with the press conference, just how open-hearted he was to answer the hardball questions.
Yeah, well, he kind of also knows that he has to sort of do that, because he's kind of has to be humble and kind of hat in hand when he comes back to the PGA. But I'd imagine that the fans, generally speaking, would be happy to see him again. Mm-hmm. Maybe the hardcore, like PGA, religious devotees would probably be like, oh, this guy bailed on us. He'd probably get more grief in the clubhouse than he would from the fans.
Yeah, I don't think players get into players' other business. They really don't. Even when guys like DeChambeau is acting like an ass on the golf course in some of his relationships, I don't think they hassle each other in the clubhouse. So far, so good. We'll just see how he plays. He didn't play very well in the first round. He and those guys are 9 strokes back the leader. That's a lot of golf to make up.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, things could change. It's early, but that's a big gap. Let's go to Greg. He goes, hey, Lee, if I offered an NFL play-by-play job, would you take it? You've always been in my Mount Rushmore of play-by-play announcers. We want you back in Seattle, too.
I'll tell you, my heart ached watching the Seahawk game, because it brought flashbacks of good times I had as the voice of the Chargers, good times I had in the 3 years they were doing Seahawk football. So, yeah, I guess the answer would be yes. I don't know, to be honest with you, if I could hold up to it. That kind of travel. If you're doing it freelance, if you're not in the community, it was hard. Now, full disclosure, I was up for the Steelers job just a couple of years ago. And right in the midst of all the interviews and everything, because they had I sent them all my play-by-play, my portfolio, and they kind of knew who I was. I had a back flare-up. I had a terrible, terrible attack of sciatica. And up to this day, 2 years later, I still have it. And I thought to myself, I can't go forward these interviews. How could I get on a plane for 20 straight weeks? Because that's what the NFL is.
Yeah.
It's preseason camp, and then it's preseason games, and then it's a 17-game schedule, and then postseason. And when you're in San Diego, and if I got the chance to go do the Steelers, which would have been unbelievable, how could I make that many round trips with a bad back? And it kind of backed me off. And I just conferred with them and said, gentlemen, I just don't think I can go forward, and it's not fair to you, because I don't know if I could hold up to this.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Mrs. Hacksaw would have been real happy with that.
Oh yeah, exactly.
She's a Steeler fan, but you're so linked to the Chargers and that big game in Pittsburgh that have you kind of going to the enemy. I mean, that would be kind of weird, but it would be great. I mean, I agree with Greg. Mount Rushmore of broadcasters. Absolutely.
It was cool. And, watching the games, my heart ached. I said, damn, I love doing that. And I miss doing that. But, the world's changed, landscape changed, and I'm not bitter about any of it. It just disappointed that it ended the way it did. But I also flashed back and thought, my God, how much travel there was. Because at that point, a lot of people fail to realize I was doing sports talk 5 days a week. 4 hours a day. I was doing all the research. I was doing college football on Saturday, and then I was doing NFL football. Wherever the Chargers played, home or road, wherever the Seahawks played, I would go there and do their games, and get back on a plane and come home. I was meeting myself coming and going in the airport. John, I swear to God, I was such a mess because all I was doing was on this run.
Wow. You know, it's interesting is when you have a lot of really cool career opportunities come your way, you hate to say no. But that's a full plate. But man, you're living a dream.
That was beyond a full plate.
You were like in your 30s and 40s at the time? Yeah.
It was hard. And I think back now and I said, how the hell did you do that?
Did you notice last night I was watching the Aztec Colorado State game? By the way, Aztecs looked great last night. And the play-by-play guy, I mean, the guy looked like he was 22 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'd imagine in this business, there's a lot of young talent that are making strides.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a very competitive space.
Got to be right place, right time, know the right people, et cetera, and then hope you get a break along the way. So I loved it. Wished I was still doing it, Greg. Thank you very much for the compliment. I love the people in Seattle. I tell John, if there was any other place I wanted to live on the West Coast aside from where I am, where it's 80 degrees and sunny, it'd be up there. I thought Seattle was just vibrant.
Yeah, it's a great city.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's gotten even greater in the last 20 years. Okay, let's go here to Matt DeBeast. He goes, hey, watch Altuve have no problem getting into the MLB Hall of Fame, despite stealing an MVP from Judge, but Belichick destroying the NFC regularly in years he didn't cheat is too much.
That's, can you say forgive and forget? I don't know. Again, they impact games. But on the priority list of what was the worst thing ever, to me, the steroid cheats, because that went on nonstop for years upon years, and they all lied about it. And then obviously the Rose thing and this Belichick thing too. But in the big picture, that accomplishment to do what he did for 24 years, it is so hard to keep your franchise together and be able to get back. And he won the AFC East 17 times in 24 years. That's just absolutely phenomenal.
I remember reading that this morning in the best 15. 17 NFC East championships is insane.
AFC East.
Oh, excuse me. You're right. AFC East. And it's funny, it's again, this brings up the point of all these double standards, where what is Hall of Fame worthy, and how much should cheating play a role? And you'd like to see all of the Hall of Fames have a similar standard on how they handle these kind of guys.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think Altuve had like something underneath his jersey? Remember, he was rounding third, coming home as, don't take off my jersey. People thought he had a bug under there.
It could well be. Nobody investigated it.
Well, yeah, apparently he ran back into the clubhouse and emerged with a T-shirt with the Astros, and people think he removed everything. That's the conspiracy theory.
Yeah, what's that phrase? If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
That was a Rome saying, I remember.
He stole it from somebody else.
Yeah, he probably did. Okay, all right, let's go here to Retro. Hey, what are the odds of the NFL Hall of Fame committee punishing Tom Brady and Gronk? Both should be first ballot Hall of Fame. Did I read that right? I can't. I mean, the question is, should those guys get suspended too? And what if they don't?
Or you say, should they get penalized? I mean, if Bill Polian, the legendary general manager, said he voted for Belichick, but he did admit there was conversation in that roundtable of the 50 voters about whether or not Belichick should pay a penance by sitting 1 year. So
take one for the team.
Yeah. So at this point in time, Belichick belongs, Brady belongs. Gronk has been great. I don't know whether or not he gets in very early in the course of it. There's so many great players. That's the thing. So many great players out there that are on the list on a year-to-year basis.
Well, Gronk has got to be one of the top 3 best tight ends of all time.
Yep.
Maybe number 1.
But not for 15 years. That was for a much smaller window of success.
But still, I mean, they're definitely Hall of Fame talent. I mean, we can argue about echelons of Hall of Fame talent. Okay, let's go here to Richard. Hey, with the Padres ranked as the worst farm system in Major League Baseball, AJ just keeps trading away prospects for the now. With no funds to sign free agents, how long before it comes crashing down?
Well, I have said on this podcast nonstop, there was a small window for this team to be a World Series team. And we had a taste of playoff success getting to the National League Championship Series with the Phillies, not getting it done. Then obviously we had this run with the Dodgers where we had them on the brink of elimination, and they came back down 2-1 with a bullpen day, and they won it all. So the Padres' window to me is closing, only because of the fact that they're tied down with all these long extended contracts. There's nothing in the farm system. They were just ranked 30th out of 30 teams in Major League Baseball in terms of farm system talent. And that's just a byproduct of he's used every minor league player he's at as currency to go get a deal, to go make a trade, to go get the next name that might be a difference maker on the roster. And that's the way he does his business. The Dodgers' business is open a checking account, write a check.
Yeah, the Dodgers have resources.
Mm-hmm.
But who was the guy? It's what's his name? He's an ESPN reporter, baseball guy. That I know Padre fans talk about him a lot on Twitter. That everyone thinks he is in grudge mode with the Padres.
Buster Olney?
No, not Buster Olney. God, the name is escaping me right now. But it was his list is the one that was just released. No top 100 players at all. Dead last in the stack rankings.
Well, Baseball America just released its top 100 last week, and the Padres had one guy. It was Ethan Salas.
Right.
He's 90th.
Yeah. And just so different guys have different polls. But the Padres, roughly speaking, 10 years ago, were number one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you're right. All that talent's been depleted, but AJ's reloading, man. He is.
I'm gonna forewarn you, if they trade Pivetta before opening day,
I think they very well could.
I just might have a meltdown on this podcast.
Well, if they got a package back like that, that 3-for-1, I'd entertain it. I mean, Pivetta was terrific, but he was far better than he had ever been in any of his previous years. There's still a big question if he can repeat it. He was injury-free all year, which was really special. So, it's the perfect time to trade him. He's got peak value.
But I don't think they're getting Pivetta value back in return. Dominguez has not hit at the major league level. Jones is stalled at AAA because he strikes out a ton and doesn't hit for average.
Mm-hmm.
And Clark Schmidt's a solid mid-rotation pitcher, but he's not the front end of your rotation pitcher. And you're trading Pivetta, your ace.
Yeah, but they're getting something back. And, maybe they see those guys and they think, you get Niebla to work with Schmidt and maybe some magic can happen. Sometimes those big hitters in the minor leagues, like, Dominguez, maybe he's still adjusting to the major league. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's just some mechanical flaws they think they can fix. Because if you had Dominguez, then suddenly you've got an answer at first base. You could also play him in left. You'd be a little bit of interchangeability there. And then you can move Sheets rightfully to be a DH. And that could work. Schmidt would plug in near the back of your rotation, which is what we need.
Oh, that'd be great. We'd have 5 number 4 starters in the rotation. No ace.
Well, if everybody, like if King and Musgrove come back to what they were, I mean, those guys those are ifs, but if they do, they're 1 or 2 number in the rotation.
Okay. That's where we are today. We'll see where we're going to be by Monday, and we'll see whether or not there's trade rumors have any veracity to it. John, move on.
Okay, let's go to Gary. Hey, is there any truth to Robert Kraft having something to do with Bill Belichick getting snubbed by the Hall of Fame?
He said no. He was the first one that was asked, and they turned around and he said, I voted. This man belongs in the Hall of Fame first time. And, Kraft is kind of linked here too. The aftermath of Spygate, Deflategate. I mean, they fined that franchise $750,000, Belichick and Kraft, and they stripped him of a number 1 draft pick. So it was a penalty there, even though Kraft might not have known about Spygate and Deflategate. But no, Robert Kraft came right out and said this man deserved to be there on the first vote. So, but they don't like each other. I guess that's the way grudges go. But no.
I mean, how can anyone really like Bill Belichick? I mean, he's just a grumpy old man. He's got the hot chick, but she's there to.
He's a curmudgeon.
He's a curmudgeon, and she's there to kind of further her career and her life goals. But I don't know. One thing about Robert Kraft that I always just remember, it's a weird thing, is that he likes to wear like a suit and dress shirts, but the kind with the collar is white and the shirt itself might be blue. And it's kind of like a Lee Iacocca look from the 1980s.
Who are you to make fashion statements about other people dressing the way you dress out in left field?
Well, I observe and I make comments on what I observe. Okay. All right. Let's go talk some Chargers with our buddy Flegel. He goes, hey, I'm a Charger fan, so I lean to those quarterbacks, but isn't it true that a successful quarterback has a first option, a second option, and then an escape? These are vision and recognition skills that experience builds. Are you willing to wait for Herbert or build an O-line quickly, or both? Don't give up on the potential of both.
I'm not giving up on Herbert at all. I've been pro Herbert all along. This is a deficiency in the package that Greg Roman demanded they run. Yeah, you can have progressions, but if you don't have an offensive line that can block and hold up, he can't get through the progressions. And then if you're asking him to make plays, well, he's got people hitting him, people at his feet, people in his face. He's been sacked 105 times in 2 years. Nobody in the media is talking about that deficiency in Charger football. Now, that being said, all you need to do is look at Mike McDaniel. His is quick, get it out, slants, seam passes, lickety split, tempo, no huddle. And then we'll run the ball out of those formations after we got you on your back heels throwing it. And McDaniel runs motion packages like you wouldn't believe, which creates mismatches or confusion in the secondary. So if you got linebackers and corners or safeties that are confused with all the motion, you got a quarterback that boom, boom, balls away. That's how you had, 4,600 yards passing his first year with Tua, 3,600 the second year before he got hurt. So, and you're gonna get the left tackle, the right tackle back, and then you go spend your free agent money, go get the legitimacy at center. Now you've fixed everything around him at quarterback. So I'm fascinated to see this. This is going to be a pass first offense, run second.
Well, first of all, I don't think anybody's willing to wait, right? We got to win now. But I would think that if you're McDaniel and you want to get that ball out early, you're going to have, when you go through your reads, there's a clear number one. I mean, the play is designed for one dude to get open. And I imagine there ain't no time to go to a second, a third, or fourth option. It's probably going to be the number one and then an escape valve, just so it can happen fast.
Well, again, if your motion's creating confusion defensively, now you got seams and angles to throw to. There's a better chance the guy gets open. That's what they did in Miami.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be fun watching. And his red zone statistics in years 1 and 2 inside the 20 going for a score, just through the roof.
Yeah, I love his whole smirk and his just kind of twinkle in his eye when he talks to the press. I think it's fantastic.
Yale nerd.
Yeah, it's good. Okay. All right, let's talk some Padres with Lance. Because how many managers has AJ Preller hired and fired? And the team is full of terrible contracts and no farm system.
That's a vote of no confidence to the general manager. I wrote a column this week on my website. People, if you don't read my one man's opinion column every day, you're really missing something. I wrote a column about question marks with the Padres 2 weeks out from the start of spring training. And it just kind of dawned on me as I was writing about Preller. There is no contract extension yet, and they've been telling us since October this is coming. That leads me to believe it's a vote of no confidence towards AJ Preller. And it may well be that this ownership group, Grupner to the Seidlers, have just taken the attitude, play the season. Let's see how the season works for you. And if it's a good season, then we'll do this extension. Or maybe their theory is you owe us a year on the contract. We'll let whoever the new owner coming in make the decision as to who they want to run it. It's one or the other. No?
Well, here's another plausible scenario. What if right now Preller is just too damn busy to work on his own deal? He's monitoring all these players and making deals. He's on the phone at 2 a.m.
That's why I have agents.
Yeah, you're right. But, he might just say, hey, man, just chill. I want to take care of this. Because, if he were able to pull off some really nice deal, then he's got a little more juice going into that negotiation meeting. Don't you think?
So you don't buy my theory?
No, I'd say it's a potential theory. I think there's a number of scenarios that exist, but it is odd that he hasn't been locked in because they're not going to have him in a lame duck year. Right. I mean, if he's not signed,
it's a lame duck year for ownership too.
No, that's true. So they might want to just synchronize everything.
Yeah. Let the new owner make a determination going forward. Let's see what the season plays out. But you need to read my one man's opinion column. I write so much deep thought stuff on the website.
Deep thoughts with
check it out. or subscribe, because then you'll get the 2 newsletters a day from us. You're missing something. Why are you walking around the streets missing something? We're offering all these free data. Go ahead, John. Next one.
All right. Let's go to Joe. Come on, John. You continue to be upset about Houston Astros sign stealing scandal, but you give Belichick a pass and say he should be in the Hall of Fame? How about some consistency?
Yeah, John from left field. What's wrong with you?
No. Let me be clear on this. They all deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Belichick, Pete Rose, Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire, Roger Clemens. Put them all in.
The whole Houston gambit.
Altuve, Beltran, all those guys, probably Carlos Correa is most likely. Bregman, probably. They belong in the Hall of Fame, but they belong there with a complete story that's told. This whole thing about banning them, it's great for talk show hosts. We can debate it. But I just think you have to go beyond that, because it's kind of like, you notice how, and I'm going to make this a little bit political, but how there are displays in the Smithsonian Museum right now that are being pulled back. Okay. Because someone is upset that they said something wrong at some particular time in the past.
Well, you voted for the guy.
No, I did not. But I'm trying not to make it left or right or red or blue. But the point is that if you're worthy of being in a museum, then that's the place to be, Now, if they were going to build like a statue in the middle of downtown Boston for Bill Belichick, the cheater, then I'd say, maybe not, just put him in the museum. In this case, put him in Canton, Ohio.
Okay. This debate's going to go on and on and on. And then we're going to revisit it when Brady becomes eligible. And Kraft obviously is on the list too.
Yeah.
That's it. Next Saturday, when they actually announce who's in the Hall of Fame, it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. Brady if Brady is for first ballot automatic Hall of Fame and Belichick's not, that's a double standard, isn't it?
I think so.
Because Brady was part of the Deflategate.
He was architect.
And Brady, he was the architect of
benefactor of Spygate.
And he was the benefactor of Spygate. Yeah.
Okay, move on. Good to have you on board.
Okay, let's go to Emmanuel. I can't believe the writers for football has to be a higher standard than baseball writers. The baseball writers elected known cheater Carlos Beltran, while the football writers held their ground. See, that's what I'm saying.
Well, on this case, the football writers held their ground on Belichick, but their explanation, according to a couple that did not vote for Belichick, is there's such a laundry list of really great players who are up against it. There's only a certain amount of time you can be on that list, and if you don't make it, you don't make it. That they wanted to vote some other guys in. So, and Belichick is the first year eligible. He's going to be eligible for a whole chunk of time. Beltran's response last week was World Series, garbage can scandal. That doesn't define me. What defines me is 434 home runs and 315 stolen bases and a 280 lifetime batting average. That's what defines Carlos Beltran. And to a degree, he's probably correct.
Well, they both define him. Mm-hmm. The stats don't lie and the cheating is real, right? I mean, and I don't know how much Carlos Beltran was an architect of it, but damn well he knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. I mean, if they've got a guy like in the hallway of the clubhouse that's looking at the video screens and then relaying messaging, there's no way he doesn't know. So,
but he paid a price. He lost his job as the manager of the Mets. He never got to manage his first game. They fired him.
That's appropriate. That's absolutely appropriate.
Okay, we move on.
Okay, and some more comments about Belichick from Jimmy. Bill got dissed for the play stealing and Deflategate, plain and simple. And what BTFU saw, the Bolts are going to be better team just for McDaniel's short game. It's what the team needed all season.
Well, got to fix the offensive front, but they have the ability. I mean, it's not like they're devoid of talent, pass protection-wise. They just need to get them healthy, and they need to solve who the offensive center is and maybe make a change at right guard. But they've got a lot of cap space. So Joe Ortiz's ability to go lure people from other places, that's right there front and center. But I'm fascinated to see what this offense is going to be, because I follow formations. I chart all this stuff, and I watch football from a little bit different dimension than he watches football. But I just know where Mike McDaniel's been and what he's done and what his playbook looks like. It's going to be really fascinating. And he won the press conference. I mean, he was just so glib and so unique and hit all the right hot button phrases. And he backed it all up because that's what he did in Miami years 1 and 2 before Tua got hurt.
Yeah, you do watch the game differently. I mean, you bust out your clipboard and you're taking notes, you're kind of charting the game.
Yep.
But it made me think, it's like, when you're keeping score in baseball, and there's obviously a science and an art to doing that. And you can go back and replay the game in your head by watching or reading the scorecard.
Mhm.
Does the NFL have such a thing?
No, but I study the play-by-play. While I'm watching the game, I have the play-by-play up on my laptop,
Mhm.
and I can revert back and say, oh, it's 2nd and 6, and they did this, and they got 12 yards, or they had, they've got 10 chunk plays in this first half of this game. So those are things that come into why the game winds up the way the game winds up.
But that's what you do, like maybe after the game, right? Or you go back and look at the playlist.
I'm watching it at the same time as I'm watching the game.
You're the 2-screen watcher.
Multitask, babe.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
I'm pretty damn good. Thank you.
Okay.
Pretty addicted.
Okay, let's go to Bob Bello. Hey, Lee, can you tell San Diego radio host to forgive the Spanos family? I want to root for Coach Jim and Herbie, but everyone still hates the Chargers.
Well, they hate Spanos. You enjoy the team. I keep making the phrase here, and some of the people who dislike me say, boy, that's a stupid-ass thing to say. My phrase is, I hope Justin Herbert goes 17-0 because I respect the player and the person, and I hope Dean Spanos goes 0-17 for what he did to our community, what he did to the Chargers, what he did to the fans, me, my radio station, etc. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's something you need a therapist to resolve. The 17-0 and 0-17 thing.
We cover all the storylines involving the Chargers. I write about it on this website all the time. I write columns all the time. We talk about it on those podcasts. We cover the Chargers and the Rams, and then we cover the rest of the NFL. So it's not like we ignore them. The media down here I don't think they do it real justice unless they're going to cheerlead. Well, you can't cheerlead all the time.
Well, the TV news kind of dabbles in Charger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, certainly those, the guys that are on the, what do they call it? The Sunday night NFL
post-game shows,
that the local news does. I mean, they pay attention to the Chargers,
mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean, but to me, I see you as, in terms of coverage, you cover the Chargers a little bit more than the Rams.
But I cover the NFL in depth.
Oh, you do?
Oh,
yeah, no doubt about it.
I write a lot about the NFL on my website.
I find myself kind of getting slowly sucked back in to the Chargers. And then when I'm watching a game, I'm sort of half rooting for them or I'm half waiting for another chargering moment. Something's going to implode.
We all do it differently. And
okay.
I'll never forget what I did with the Chargers and how important it was to my career. And I'll never forgive Spanos for what he did to our community. Period, exclamation point.
Okay, well, here, Bobello had another comment I want to sneak in. He goes, listening to Lee is like going to a time machine. Before the internet, I relied on radio, ESPN, San Diego Union Tribune for sports info.
What's really different? I mean, the landscape of our industry has just so drastically changed, sometimes for the good and a lot of times for the bad. So it's easy to get access to information now, but you got to make sure you get it from the right source rather than some guy sitting in his mom's garage writing stuff on the internet and Twitter. It's a lot more coverage, a lot more information available because there's a lot more sources to go get stuff and a lot more people putting resources to do it.
Yeah. I mean, back then it was cool, because I remember my buddy and I, we read the book, Rotisserie Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And that was before fantasy leagues were a thing, because the fantasy leagues really took off and the internet really took off in the late 90s. But in the late 80s, that book came out. And so my friend said, I'm gonna build a fantasy or a rotisserie baseball league. And when you're preparing for the draft, it was hard to get information. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was like, what was that? That baseball had a couple of magazines that they would release like at the beginning of the year. The USA Today kind of had a pretty extensive print version of sports data, but there was no one like you.
Well, there was no one on the internet. Now it's flip your laptop up and go surf and there's all kinds of statistical websites. I mean, you can get swallowed up by it.
Oh, you can.
And you have to subscribe to get access to Pro Football Focus and True Football and some of the others. So,
but see, I think Bobella hits the point here. It is like a time machine. It's like, hey, it's like we're back, with a transistor radio, listen to 690, driving around town, that's what it was.
Good deal.
back in the day.
Glad you enjoy it. We'll just keep grinding.
Okay, keep on grinding. Okay, and then here, Do You Love It says, we just never want to see Spanos holding the Lombardi Trophy.
Well, they've owned the franchise for 37 years now, I think, and they've had 17 winning seasons in 37 years.
Yeah, ain't good.
No.
But the Raiders are worse, right?
Well, modern-day Raider football is
for sure.
unbelievably bad. Next one.
Next one. Okay, this is a long one from John. Hey, I remember in my younger days the football wars between the AFL and the NFL, and then the NFL and the World Football League, and even the NFL and the USFL. And when players went back and forth between the leagues, they weren't beaten up for taking a payday and securing their future. In fact, they were welcomed back. So how is it different for a golfer to take a paycheck from Live Golf and then be ostracized for coming back to the PGA? Please explain.
Well, I think that the rationale was these were different times, and that was just athletes and athletes bidding. This, I think what has stung so much is the history of the globe. I think of Saudi Arabia, and I think of 9/11. Those were Saudis that did that. That was backed by Saudi terrorist groups. And now we fast forward to today, and Mickelson and Dustin Johnson, and they're taking Saudi oil money, blood money. I mean, can you forgive Saudi Arabia for 9/11? Because they're the ones that caused all those deaths in New York City and on the plane in Pennsylvania and all that. So that's the way I view it.
But, you know, if they're kind of, they're admitting, okay, I was wrong. Okay, I was wrong. You know, I want to come back home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why would you just be an a-hole and just give that guy grief? I mean, to me, you bring him back, you welcome him back. You know, it wasn't like he took, well, he went on the way out the door. He was previously taking shots at Live Golf. Koepka was. And then he
took the money.
And then he kind of hypocritically took the money. But if they're not firing zingers back at the PGA on their way out the door, then why be in grudge mode?
And they're paying a penalty to come back in. They've been readmitted for what they did.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if as he plays Friday into Saturday into Sunday, when the crowds are going to be much bigger out there at Torrey Pines. It'll be interesting to see when there's a lot of people around the greens, or as he is in the tee box, how he's accepted or rejected. Nothing happened today, which is respectful, but there weren't a lot of people out there.
Right on. Okay. All right. Let's go here to XX Revolution, who rarely leaves a comment other than just a nice greeting. It says hockey arenas are improving for the Olympics, but it's still weird. Hockey at the Olympics?
No, it's not weird. They played hockey at the Olympics since the 1950s. No, it's not weird at all. And now that the hockey is a global game, and we have so many players from abroad who are making the NHL such a different game. Now, you know, the Frozen Four in the Olympics, that's really, really special. So no, I don't think hockey's weird in the Olympics. It's been that way for a long time. It's just that we did not have great Olympic teams. We won in 1960, which how the hell that happened?
Is that Lake Placid?
No, 1960
it was the one in Tahoe area, wasn't it?
No, 80 was Lake Placid.
Right. But there was another Lake Placid earlier, I think. Maybe it wasn't 1960.
I can't recall, but 1960 was the other one that we won where we became, wow, how did that happen?
Yeah. What was it?
Jack
it was
McCartan.
Was it Squaw Valley? I think
it might have been. Jack McCartan was an American college goalie, and he backstopped the U.S. team in 1960 to a medal. Was wow.
Well, what's your whole take on pro athletes in the Olympics? Do you like it or dislike it?
They open the door because they're such great athletes, and I think playing for the flag is really special. Is it a clutter? But then again, going back before the door was open to pros, the Russian athlete was a pro. He was in the Russian military,
right? But
he was being paid to be a professional hockey player while playing for USSR while being in the Russian military.
See, I just think that's just a really silly rule. Maybe back in the day, they thought that the amateur athlete was this sort of pure version of a young kid that wants to rise up. But to me, if you're going nation a la nation, you know, you want your best, man. If you're going for the flag, you want your best guys out there. It's like when they had Team USA in the basketball in 1992, I thought it was fantastic. but so many people were like angry about it.
But now it's a global game, and there's so many great foreign players.
Yeah.
The USA versus the world. There's so many great foreign players now.
Yeah.
Now you open it up to everybody. So it's
like, why should a nation purposely tie one arm behind their back because they think they're too high and mighty to have their pros represent their team?
Times have changed.
Times have definitely changed. Okay. All right. We got a couple of minutes left. Let's go to social media. We got some folks here that we can pile in. And okay, this is good. This is talking about the Dodgers and the Tucker move. Where is it? There it is. This is from, who is this? Black Americana for King. He says, hey, this the same guy that was saying the Dodgers had no shot at signing Tucker. Dismiss the signing as casually as a Twitter troll who only watches women's tennis. Owners are not agreeing to a lockout because they would be losing millions doing so.
I guess he's taking a shot at me.
Yes. No, at you. Because you would say Tucker is coming to the Dodgers. Then you say he's not coming to the Dodgers.
Time out.
Yeah.
The Dodgers got Tucker at the Dodgers price.
$60 million a year.
For 3.
But still, that's a ton.
They were willing to pay the top average on their term. They were not going to give him 5. They were not going to give him 7. So the Dodgers got themselves a good player who is marquee, but not a flag-carrying leader. But he'll fit right in there because all the attention's Freddie Freeman and all the attention is Ohtani, and Ohtani is Mookie Betts. So he'll fit right in and probably have himself a good season if he can stay free of injury. But back when he was asking for the kind of money he was asking, same thing with Bellinger, who wanted 7 years, $200+ million. Dodgers said no. Dodgers got the good player at the package they wanted, which was a 3-year contract. So it turns out to be win-win for the Dodgers, probably win-win for Tucker because he's in a good environment, a different environment than he would be if he was with the Cubs or back in Houston where he had to be the man. He didn't emotionally did not want to be the man.
When you said the flag carrying leader?
Yeah.
You know what I got just a flash in my head is because Tucker's going to play right field, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that time, like, I don't know, this is like forever ago, that one of the fans busted out into right field in Dodger Stadium and lit the American flag on fire.
And
Rick Monday came in and swooped in and saved the flag. And that's a flag carrying leader right there.
That's a forever moment.
Yeah, that was
sports.
Special.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we hope you have enjoyed this podcast. Man, we put a lot of topics on the table. Please, thumbs up, hit the follow button, give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us. Check my website. I write on it every day of the week, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Share, subscribe so you get the alerts every time we put up on the podcast. Join my Hacksaw's Insiders group right on my website. Get on the email list. We do 2 newsletters a day. We provide you a ton of information. We say thank you for being part of this and hope you'll tell some more friends along the way. Take a deep breath. Have a great sports weekend because come Monday, we'll start talking Super Bowl.
Come Monday, everything's going to be all right.
You have a great sports weekend, too. This podcast brought to you by Dixie Line Lumber and Home Centers. Go to dixieline.com to see all the things they have to offer. Thanks for being part of our show on Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast apps. For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.